With difficult clients, you can meditate, count to 10, but we all have a breaking point. When is it time to fire a client?
You're fired.
Clients. We need them, but sometimes we'd rather do without them. So when it comes to dealing with a flock of Karens, when is the time to call it quits? We ask the experts.
1.
For me, a deal breaker is when they're not respecting commonality of common courtesy. And what I mean by that is because a business relationship is always a relationship, there's always going to be give and take in that relationship. But when somebody's consistently trying to get more and more and more, but not willing to actually invest more into that process, in other words, in consulting, this is called scope creep. And so in scope creep, it's like, well, the client's asking, how about this? How about this? How about this? And we never go back to the original agreement and say, well, this is our original agreement, but I'll do this anyways. And then they keep asking more and more and more and more. That becomes a deal breaker over time. But if they're not courteous, even when times are not good, that's a deal breaker for me. But this is so important when people are going to be selling to people or people are going to be buying from another. Get a clear agreement up front what that's all about. Because once we have a clear agreement, then we can always refer back to the agreement. But for me, that's the deal breaker.
2.
In any group of people you deal with, 2 to 3% are going to be almost certifiably insane. So there's almost no way to make certain people happy. I believe that inherently in all the people I've met in my 56 years, there's a certain amount that just are off the wall. What I found works is maintaining respect even with crazy people or difficult people, because if you really become, you maintain your managers and you stay diplomatic and you don't go down to their level and it ends up in a screaming match or a fight, you're going to stay out of bigger trouble, because you can't predict what an unstable person is going to do or how far they're going to go.
3.
I think everybody deals with difficult clients. I think it's a common, occurrence. Doesn't mean you're necessarily always doing a bad job either. They're sometimes just hard people to please. At the end of the day, our philosophy is you handle healthy conflict. You actually come and share what's struggling, what makes them different than other clients you work with, and ask actually what your contribution was to creating that environment. And you would hope by you bringing that open question to allow them to vent, it'll allow them to allow you to then share, well, here's what I think you might be doing to contribute to that problem. And by having that conversation, you can usually come to an agreement of we're going to move on from each other. This isn't the right service opportunity together, or you're going to be able to get to a place to actually continue to work together. And I've seen some of those become some of the best relationships I've had with some of the clients in our organization.
4.
The number one deal breaker for us in stopping working with a client is how they treat our staff and our team members. We will not tolerate total disrespect and a lack of concern for our team. Sometimes people have bad days. That's going to happen here and there. We always like to extend grace. Of course, we all have those situations. But what I'm referring to is someone that is consistently, or has maybe team members that are consistently rude, disrespectful, arrogant, not considerate. It's just being aware that you're doing business with other people. Our number one value at our company is win-win relationships. And so if someone comes in to work with us that does not have a similar mindset, that together we can all gain, kind of that concept of a mutual gain, and come in with an idea of a relational aspect. If they're more transactional focused and they just want to come through, run through a mill and get out, well, we're not going to be a great fit for that client. And they're going to be better served by working with someone else to help them through that. And I'm happy to encourage them to do so.
5.
Question number 1 with the difficult client is, are they difficult? Or are you underperforming the level of excellence that really should be expected of you? Second question, if they truly are just difficult, a good, pleasant, firm message from the entrepreneur leader that, hey, Anna, I appreciate what you're saying, but the way you're saying it to my staff is unacceptable, and you are not going to talk to us like that again. I had that message to a client once. He goes, oh, you don't know what I'm capable of. This isn't even the beginning. I said, sir, I don't care what you're capable of. What you're saying now and the way you're treating my staff is unacceptable, and if it continues, we will stop working for you. So if they're truly difficult, a stern, pleasant, firm rebuttal. But first ask the question, are they truly difficult, or are they just pushing you to be the great company that you really should be?
The Best of Business show is brought to you by the BASA Awards. The BASA Awards exist to recognize, reward, and promote exceptional small businesses. We run 4 award programs: Best of America, Best of Australia, Best of Canada, Best of UK. Remember, it's strictly for small businesses only. Nominate your business today